The odds are stacked against Brock Purdy this weekend. We've got the best pass rusher on the planet, one of the best defenses on the planet, a coordinator that owns Kyle Shanahan, and oh yeah, weather. It's Brock Purdy against the world Sunday in Cleveland. What is good, everybody? Welcome to another Gold Standard podcast, part of the Pro Football Insiders. I am Rob Stats Guerrera. She is Michelle Majuk. How are you on this day after Thanksgiving, Michelle?
Hey, I am happy. I am going to be eating leftovers. I feel like the second we get off the show, even though it's still pretty early. My Thanksgiving was great. So I hope everyone else is, everyone enjoyed their time with their family. Watched great football yesterday.
Yes.
Loved it. And, ate some yummy food.
We have my in-laws over the day after Thanksgiving. So I don't do leftovers. I do a whole other Thanksgiving. And this year, Michelle, I don't know if you can see this.
Nice.
I got a shirt that says mashed potatoes. I never do this, but I have resisted this since having kids. I always resist the matching outfits. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. But for some reason this year, I was like, I'm doing it. I got my shirt says mashed potatoes. My wife says pumpkin pie. My daughter says mac and cheese. And my son says crescent rolls. So we are all going to be like Thanksgiving food items today.
That's adorable. I love it. Are your in-laws going to wear shirts as well?
Nope. They have no idea. So
you just left them out. That's nice.
Yes, completely. Look, I'm not made of money. Okay, I bought 4 shirts. Leave me alone. A lot to break down on the show today. Brock Purdy maybe faces, if not the most questions he's faced as a 49ers quarterback, I do feel like he is up against it this week, Michelle. He's in Cleveland. It's going to rain or snow. Myles Garrett is there. Jim Schwartz is there. The last time Brock played Cleveland, I went back and watched it. It was hideous. Like, I don't think people realize how bad it was just because, what do they always say? Well, at the end of the game, he had a drive and Jake Moody missed it and it's all Jake Moody's fault. Like, no, Brock was horrible last time he faced the Browns. So there is a lot against him this week.
It really stinks that this game is in Cleveland, right? Like if Cleveland was coming to the 49ers, I really wouldn't be worried. Like, yeah, we have to make sure Myles Garrett doesn't get to Purdy over and over and over again. But that would be the biggest worry because the Browns defense performs incredibly different at home versus on the road. At home, they're the best defense in the league. On the road, they're just a mediocre run-of-the-mill, like actually kind of a bad defense. So
why is that?
I have no idea. I guess they need their home crowd. But yeah, with the weather on top of that, I mean, I'm expecting this to be a very, very low scoring game. And the 49ers defense is going to have to shut down the Browns offense, which shouldn't be that hard. Kind of like last week against the Panthers. It was an ugly offensive performance, but Bryce Young and that offense couldn't do anything.
The problem is the last time the 49ers were in Cleveland against this team, do you know who the starting quarterback was for the Browns that week?
Was it Dorian Thompson-Robinson?
It was PJ freaking Walker. Nice. So just like last time, again, it was quarterback with a lot of questions. It didn't matter. What it's going to come down to is one or two big plays. You know, with the 49ers, it was a couple of missed tackles that led to a play. Deommodore Lenoir fell down and led Amari Cooper out the gate for like a 52-yard catch and run. It's going to be stuff like that because I do think the 49ers defense is, going to be able to confuse Shedeur Sanders a little bit. So the nice thing for the 49ers was last time they had Debo, they had like these game-breaking guys. I don't know that they have those, Michelle, especially because, I don't know if you noticed this, and maybe people didn't. Practice report came out yesterday. Christian McCaffrey did not participate in practice. Now, they are saying it is a rest day. That is officially what he was limited as or listed as. He rests on Wednesdays. Now they're saying it's another rest day. Trent Williams, 37-year-old Trent Williams, didn't get an extra rest day. He only got the one. He was back at practice yesterday. So maybe there could be something going on with Christian McCaffrey.
Maybe there is, but at the same time, I think having another rest day makes a lot of sense for him because of how much usage he has had this year, leading the league in both receptions and carries, which is just wild. But then also, there is no way they're not going into this game saying, not planning to give Christian McCaffrey 30 plus touches again. Like, the whole game plan is going to be around Christian McCaffrey. So I understand them giving him another day to rest up his body, knowing what they're going to have to lean on him for to win on Sunday.
Sorry, I was distracted by somebody in the chat that says, I lived in Minnesota and I ran into Alex Boone and I asked him a question real simple. Are we ever going to win a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan? And he said no. Well, I guess that settles it. We didn't win one with Alex Boone either, by the way. Just pointing that out, who played, of course, under Jim Harbaugh. The McCaffrey thing, I get it. It's insane how he has been used. We've never seen anything like it. I think technically now he's second in receptions behind Jamar Chase, who I'm sure was like, thank you, Joe Burrow, for returning to my life.
Okay,
but
well, I mean,
the point is the point. Like, it's absurd what they're doing with him usage-wise. Now, look, he may come back to practice today and all may be well, but he sat out Thursday. Thursday is the Niners' most physical, most important practice of the week. He sat out. We'll see. We know what it's going to look like if he's there, right? We've seen that. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that Christian McCaffrey doesn't play in this game. I was thinking about this in the shower, and you know that's where I do all my best thinking. I don't know why. If Christian McCaffrey is out, do you make Brian Robinson running back 1 and then just have Garendo be running back 2? Or do you put Garendo as running back 1 and keep Brian Robinson in the role that he is in currently, which he's done a decent job at?
Well, no. Christian McCaffrey is not going to be out. He's going to be fine. He's going to be there. You are always this devastated thinker. But also, if for whatever reason he were to miss, you move Brian Robinson Jr. up. He should be the top guy. Garendo is the change of pace back guy. So you'd put him in for a carry here or there, hope he could break one off. But it would very much go to, Brian Robinson should be getting 20 carries in the game.
The thing I like about what they're doing with Brian Robinson now is they pound the ball with Christian McCaffrey, but he's not really like a power running back. But then they bring in Brian Robinson, who that's his game, is just running over people. And he's going up against defenses that are tired, that have been on the field, and he's got fresh legs, and he just smashes into them. And so that's why I like him. And so that's why I was like, is he as effective if he is the number 1 primary guy where he may not have as fresh of legs and maybe he won't be able to break as many tackles? But then, like you said, you bring in Garendo, who, while he's not a really good every down back, as a change of pace guy, because of his speed, he could be a guy that breaks off a 50-yard run.
It's going to be so interesting to see what this offense even has to do. Like, how many points do you think the Browns will put up? I think that's the whole answer here.
Mm-hmm.
When we're trying to decide what are the chances of the 49ers going into Cleveland and winning, I think the answer is how many points can the Browns offense put up? And is Shedeur Sanders the best quarterback that they're going to have all season long? That could be the case. He got to play the Raiders, so we don't know, right? The Raiders defense is atrocious, but he played all right. It wasn't like a insanely good game, but he had some good throws out there, and 1 or 2 good throws deep down the field could be the difference of this game.
Well, he had 1 throw deep down the field, which was a 50-yard pass, which was not a touchdown, didn't result in any points, but it was a nice throw. It was a nice play. It was a nice throw. The other 60-yard touchdown he had, it was a 1-yard throw. Like, it was behind the line of scrimmage. So it wasn't like Shedeur Sanders ripped it down the field. So, his passing total was, what did he throw for? Just over 200 yards in the game, 209.
Yeah, he only had 20 attempts, so,
Yeah. Well, when you're sacking the other quarterback 10 times, I watched that game. It was comical trying to watch the Raiders do anything. But yeah, we don't know what Shedeur is. We have no idea. He's only had 1 start. We will see. I don't know if he's going to be any good. I personally would not want to face Robert Saleh in my second start ever in the NFL, because even though the 49ers defense is limited and they are very much bend, don't break, I think that Saleh knows how to confuse a young quarterback. I think he knows how to make life miserable for a guy that just literally has not seen a ton of NFL defenses. So that's what I am sort of banking on a little bit, is that, the Saleh factor can keep them in a situation where, maybe you limit them to 13, 16 points in the game. And I'm sorry, I don't care if it's raining. I don't care what defense you're going up against. Kyle Shanahan's got to be able to get more than 16 points out of his offense this week.
It'll be interesting because Miami was in Cleveland in week 7, right? Similar offensive system to Kyle Shanahan's with Mike McDaniel. So Tua in that game, 100 passing yards, 3 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. They only scored 6 points in the game. Now, I trust Kyle Shanahan and this 49ers offense more than the Dolphins offense overall. But that's the system, at least in that game, the Browns were able to absolutely shut down.
They can shut down anybody, like especially if they're getting the kind of pressure that they got against the Raiders. I mean, I don't know how you thrive in that. And that's why I'm going to be fascinated to see, what does Kyle Shanahan do in this game? Does he start the game with the same kind of mindset that he ended the Panthers game with, which we saw in the second half of that game, Michelle? It was short passes for Brock. It was no passes over the middle of the field. It was a lot of rollouts and bootlegs and very defined, like, here's the play, you roll out, there's your first read, he's right there. You know, it's very much a kind of paint by numbers sort of offense. Does he start it that way against the Browns to get Brock's confidence up a little bit, to keep the 49ers from putting the ball in harm's way? And maybe he says, maybe we can steal, a touchdown or a field goal early, and then we can bank on Robert Saleh doing his part.
Because really what the 49ers offense has to do is not turn over the ball, and they should be able to handle this game, right? But I don't see that happening because Purdy is a turnover machine this year. But yeah, I like that plan. Like, I don't want to baby Purdy. Like, you paid him money and he should be taking care of the ball on his own. But in this matchup on the road in bad weather, I do think that should be the plan, because you're not expecting the opponent to be able to just go down the field and put up a bunch of points. So just take care of the ball and move down the field slowly, and you're going to be okay. It doesn't have to be these big plays. You don't have to risk anything. And his interceptions, it was like, what is happening? He was just throwing it up to the guys. Like, it was crazy.
Matt Barrows, and then the weather on top of all this. Speaker 1984 says weather might play into what Kyle wants to call anyway. Barrows has a great breakdown in The Athletic about Brock in the bad weather. He has a passer rating of 105.1 in fair weather. But when it rains, his passer rating goes all the way down to 64.8. And his EPA, same thing, 0.22 when it's clear. When it's not clear, minus 0.30. So there is a huge dip in performance when Brock Purdy plays in the rain. He gets all prickly about it, Michelle. He doesn't like when you ask him. They asked him, are you going to wear a glove? No. Didn't have No, not going to wear a glove. Did you ever wear a glove at Iowa State? No. I'm not going to change anything. He is sensitive about it, but we have seen it. I have seen this guy in the middle of his drop back, Michelle, wiping his hand on the towel. I will never forget that against Green Bay. Remember in that playoff game, first series of the game, he came out with the glove on. Then he took the glove off after the first series. It is a thing. Clearly, it's a thing for him. He doesn't know how to deal with it either, but I don't care how sensitive he gets about it. It is a real factor that he's going to have to overcome.
I mean, it definitely is, until he can prove to us that he can play in bad weather. We have not seen a bad weather game where he's played well. So, I mean, there hasn't been a ton in his career, but show us that you can play well. Like, go into Cleveland and prove us wrong, right? Like, play lights out. It doesn't even mean you have to be killing it down the field, but just protect the ball. Do what you're supposed to do in this offense. Move the offense down the field, and just don't give the win to the other team. Like, make them beat you.
I completely agree. Cam's dad one says turnover machine. Why are what your record says? I think you are what your record says. But
he still could be a turnover machine. He's had multiple interceptions in 3 out of 4 games played.
Right. I mean, this year he has been. And honestly, it's more than this year. In his last 19 starts, he has 19 picks. Like, he is a turnover machine. It doesn't matter if they win the game or not. He had 3 turnovers last week. It doesn't get erased because the 49ers beat the Panthers.
And he had 2 and 2 the first 2 starts. He's played 4 games, and now he has 7 interceptions in 4 games. That's an issue.
Right. And the facts are the fact. We're not making this up. Like, the games are on TV.
I love Brock Purdy. I mean, I love him. I think I'm his biggest fan, but he's a turnover machine right now. So I'm going to just be honest about that.
And he wasn't that when he first started. And so the question is, there's a lot of people that are saying,
he was. Remember, we were worried about that when he was going into the competition with Trey Lance. We're saying he got lucky on a lot of plays. There's so many turnover-worthy plays where we were watching him. We're like, whoa, like that could have easily been intercepted over and over. But he was getting really lucky in the beginning of his career. Now that luck has changed.
In 2022, he had 13 touchdowns and 4 picks in 9 games. In 2023, he had 31 touchdowns and 11 picks in 16 games. To me, that's phenomenal. Like, I love that. I will take that. His worst year last year, he had 20 touchdowns and 12 picks in 15 games. That's a little more worrisome. 12 picks in 15 games. You don't love that, especially when you only have 20 touchdowns. And of course, this year, 8 touchdowns, 7 picks in 4 games. That's the other part of this too, Michelle. If you're throwing a bunch of touchdowns, I don't care about your interceptions as much. Matthew Stafford led the league in interceptions the year he won the Super Bowl with the Rams. But guess what? He also threw 40 touchdowns. So you can cancel that out. Problem is, Brock hasn't been doing that. And that's the real issue. When you only have the interceptions and not the touchdowns to make up for it, you get the questions that we have all been asking and talking about for weeks.
Yeah, I mean, until you show us that you can protect the ball, because now every time he throws to the middle, we're all holding our breath. I mean, every time you're like, oh, God. And I mean, Mac Jones did better at protecting the ball. I think Brock Purdy's the better quarterback. I think that he offers you more when things don't, go perfectly in an offensive play. But at the same time, protecting the ball does come into play. You can't be turning over the ball 2 or 3 times every game.
I used to have this math teacher in high school who would say, what do you do when you don't know what to do? That was his big thing. And I feel like Brock's issue right now is that when he doesn't quite know what to do, when things go off script a little bit, he always chooses the worst option. So, and the case in point, like the perfect example of this is the interception he throws to Ricky Pearsall. On that play, the middle of the field is wide open. He has Kittle in front of him in the middle of the field open. He has a ton of space to run. He has an open wide receiver in Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall is open. That is not Brock trying to be Superman. He's open. That's the read. That's the exact look you want on the play. The problem is Brock chose the worst option because, okay, you want to throw to Ricky Pearsall? Great. I have no issue with that. That's your job as a quarterback. But he throws it on the run. He makes the throw as difficult as possible for himself. That is the worst possible option, right? You could run it. You could throw it to Kittle. You could set your feet and throw it to Pearsall. Hell, you could throw it out of bounds. That's a better option than throwing an interception. But Brock says, no, I'm choosing violence. I'm going to throw off one foot, off my right foot, which is even more difficult. And it's going to be a bad throw and it's going to get an interception. Brock, what do you do when you don't know what to do? Just don't choose the worst of all the options and you'll be okay.
Yep. I mean, you said it perfectly. And like you said, like, even if you just throw it away, like just if there's nothing there, he needs to be more willing to throw it away. And I just don't think we're going to see a good performance out of him in Cleveland. And I think that's okay. Like, there's not really quarterbacks that go into Cleveland as of late and have a good game. Like, we shouldn't expect that from him. Just play a clean game. That's all we're asking. Like, if he only has 150 passing yards, that's fine by me, and no touchdowns. Like, Christian McCaffrey takes over, okay. Just don't have any interceptions either. That'd be great.
Papa J says Brock has played in 4 games since January. Yeah, he's a little rusty, but we've got to give him a break. How rusty did Joe Burrow look yesterday? He looked pretty damn good to me, right? You shouldn't need 3 starts to get up and running again when you've been out. I'm sorry. Like, I want to give Brock as much grace as possible, but let's go here. Joe Burrow was throwing dimes yesterday. In fact, he even had a throw over the middle to an open receiver for a touchdown. That was even harder than Brock's throw. Like, I don't want to just say that Brock needs this long runway. You only get to play the games once here. We can't afford that.
And he wasn't rusty against the Cardinals, so it's not like you can just like not be rusty and then be rusty again a week later. I don't know. Like, he came back and I don't think it has anything to do with rust. It's just he keeps making poor decisions. We've seen it now it's been a long trend at this point of too many turnovers.
And he's been practicing also. It's not like he's, done absolutely no football activities and then they throw him into the game. He's been practicing. So this idea that you need, 3 weeks to get up to speed, I'm sorry. Like, we don't have the time to wait. You only have 17 games in a season. So we got to go. And like that interception to Jennings on the first one. I mean, first of all, I hate throwing the ball 20 plus yards down the field to Juwan freaking Jennings. I have an issue with that. And especially because they were so close to their own end zone. It was a max protect play. There was only 2 receivers in the route. Neither one of them was Ricky Pearsall, which make sense to me. But also, like, Brock, instead of forcing that, just scramble, just roll out. If a 2-yard run is better than putting the ball in harm's way, throwing it up to Juwan Jennings, which, by the way, let's say it's not intercepted, right? Let's say Jawan Jennings fights it off and the ball gets tipped up in the air. There's nobody else in the middle of the field that can catch it for the 49ers. So it's going to be a risky throw anyway. Like, what do you do when you don't know what to do? Just find a way to gain some yards or live to play the next play. That should be your primary focus, Brock, at least for this game, especially the worse the weather is.
And I think they can win this game in an ugly game. It could be another ugly 20-9 win like last week. And that's okay. Like, get this win on the road. You go into bye and you have time to finally breathe, because that was, a week 14 bye is so incredibly late. Brutal. You get time to just, rest your body a little bit. And then you get to come off the bye against the Titans at home. Like, that should be a really nice, simple game to come back to. The offense should be able to get back on track in that game. And then against the Colts now, with Daniel Jones dealing with whatever injury he's dealing with.
Like a broken bone, right?
Yeah, that could be an easier game than we were expecting. I'm not really, I know Chicago right now has a great record, but I don't know. I just still don't believe in them. Like, these could be 4 straight wins, and then you don't have to worry too much about week 18 unless somehow they still have a chance for the division. But at 12 wins, you'd be looking pretty good for definitely a wild card spot locked down.
And the Bears, first of all, the Bears play the Eagles, then they play the Packers, then they play the Browns, then they play the Packers again. Like, their schedule, they may be looking like a much, much different team by the time they play the 49ers. So we'll have to see about that. But that's my lay of the land for Brock. He's going to be up against it this week in a major, major way. And I don't know if his mindset is going to be bleep them. I'm going to sling this thing all around and throw it and prove everybody wrong. Or if it's going to be, hey, let me just don't screw it up. As long as I walk out of here with a win, I can say F you to all the haters, because I will have walked out of here with a win. And then, like you said, be win number 9. They'd be almost guaranteed. I don't want to say guaranteed, but almost guaranteed a playoff spot. They'd be in such good shape. And then going into the bye, as you said, and maybe that's his mindset, where all I got to do is find a way to win and we'll be good. And I hope that's the mindset. And I hope that's the mindset of the rest of the Niners as well.
Yeah. And if it's supposed to be rainy or windy, or snowy, whatever, the wind will definitely be there. Like, it's Cleveland right off that water at the end of November. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. I think the wind would be our biggest fear as well. But it's like, this game is very important for Christian McCaffrey to be healthy, right? So hopefully it really was just a rest day. And I believe it, because it makes sense to give him an extra rest day right now. So as long as Christian McCaffrey is healthy, they're able to feed him. I think he can do enough where Brock Purdy just has to hit Kittle a couple times, right? And not mess anything up, and they should be able to handle business, unless Shedeur Sanders ends up being like this great quarterback. Who knows? I guess he could surprise us.
What if Kyle is like, look, Christian, you better take an extra rest day, because we got the bye next week. I'm going to run the hell out. This is a 50 Christian McCaffrey carry game, because I'm not letting Brock turn the damn ball over. So you better brace yourself, buddy. Take an extra day, because you're going to need it.
I think they should, like, just run it. Even in the beginning of the game, if it's not working, just keep going. Like, as long as the Browns aren't putting up big numbers, right, and scoring right away, like, just wear down that defense and get them tired, because that's what's going to stop the pass rush too, right? Is if you're running, and you just wear them down, and then they just think like they don't know when you're going to pass, and it's not as easy. That's how you're going to wear down this defense and not let Myles Garrett destroy you.
Andre Garibay 85 says Myles Garrett is going for 6 sacks. That is the other part of this too, is you have to avoid that, because that puts you in, you're behind the chains, 2nd and long, 3rd and long. That's when this defense is, really excels. So I think you're going to see a lot of runs on first down. I think there will be a ton of first down runs in the game. I would not be surprised to see a lot of screen passes in the game too, right? Great pass rush, throw the screen, try to take advantage of that. None of this stuff, by the way, is going to catch the Browns off guard, because this is the same stuff everybody's been trying to do against them all year long. So we'll see if it actually works. But I mean, there are things you can do to try to mitigate that. I'll tell you this. I don't think the Niners are giving up 10 sacks like the Raiders did last week.
Let's hope not. But yeah, Geno Smith is so bad. I wish the Seahawks still had Geno Smith. But right. Yeah, this is my thing. I truly am petrified of this game. Now, who's going to be the kicker?
Oh, Eddie hasn't practiced all week, so I think it's going to be Mac Day, which is another, like, that's another thing that we could pile on top of this, right? Because Jake Moody missed a 41-yarder that would have given the Niners the win at the gun last time. Could Matt Gay do the same thing? I have no idea. Does he even kick in the weather? I have no idea.
Because he was with the Colts for a while, right? And the Commanders. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That could be a huge thing as well, the kicking. I mean, because we're not expecting this to be a high-scoring game, so it's going to be hard to get into the end zone. These kicks are going to be highly important, and bad weather messes with kicks too.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I don't know. I do think Christian McCaffrey gets at least 30 carries in this game. I think on the other side too, in Quinshon Judkins, he's going to get a ton of carries too. So it's going to come down to which defense can stop the run.
And the Browns are much better at it than the 49ers. Let's just be honest about that. Cam's dad says Garrett gets 0 sacks, many pressures. Trent Williams, Myles Garrett has done most of his rushing on the left side this year. Because I said to I apologize. I can't remember his name. Jeff Deeney of PFF. Because he said, Myles Garrett against Trent Williams. And I was like, no, the Browns are going to put Myles Garrett against Colton McKivitz, right? And he was like, really, Myles hasn't moved around a ton. So if the Browns, for whatever reason, are going to stick with that, I mean, that's all you can ask for as a Niners fan. Like, you take your chances in that scenario.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Trent still has it at that age against the best pass rusher right now in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Can Trent still hold up at 37 years old? But they have to have, I mean, I'm wondering if this is going to be one of those games where Kittle doesn't even get targeted, right? Do they just have him blocking the whole time?
Yeah. Really interesting. And this is like maybe the one game where you feel like you justify it, but at the same time, like it's so frustrating because he's so damn good offensively. But yeah, that's all part of the mix that's going to have to go into the stew as they try and figure this thing out. At NH Niners says, I think Brock is going to throw for 2+ touchdowns and no picks. I'd sign for that right now. I'd sign for like 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Book it. I mean, I don't think you can ask for much more than that. Shout out to you, NH Niners, and all our YouTube channel members. We appreciate each and every one of you and all your support. All right. Is there anything else you want to get to before we get into the picks? Because we have to redeem ourselves this week, Michelle.
It was a bad week last week. Real bad. All
right. Well, let's get into it now. And we make all our picks with Sleeper on the program. We advise you to do the same. Check out the app today. It is super, super easy to use. And if you sign up, you'll get a free $20 entry. You don't even have to deposit any money. So go download the app if you haven't done so already. Sign up and check it out. I promise you will like what you see. They have news updates there. They have, of course, the picks like we talked about. They have fantasy that you can use the app for as well. Jason and Steph love the fantasy aspect of it. So please go and check it out. And if you get your picks right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on a bunch of different stats that they have up there. And you can win, again, up to 1,000 times your money. And if you look around, you check it out, you think this is pretty cool, and you want to play, use our code GSP to get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So again, use our code GSP for that. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Now, I didn't want to do this, Michelle, but I'm going to do it anyway. Out of the two of us, there was only one of us that got any picks right last week, and it was not you.
Yeah, no, I was terrible last week.
I want to personally blame Brock Purdy for being a turnover machine, and you can't get your picks right if your quarterback is constantly giving the ball to the other team. So that certainly didn't do us any favors. I
mean, the whole game was just terrible, right? Like there's not much to go around whatsoever on either side. So it ended as a 20-9 game. We always take overs or mores. So it's hard to hit that when both offenses stink.
I was just going to say that, Michelle. Is this a week where maybe because of the weather and the defenses and all of that, do we just pick lower on a whole bunch of categories?
Maybe, if that's what you want to do. I did not, but if you are going to put money down on any of these player props of like yardage in receiving, I do like the lowers in the receiving to be less than, but I don't take this.
The first one, I have honors because you were terrible last week. I just want to keep reiterating your terribleness.
Wait, no, I want to go first.
Why?
Because I only have 3. What if you take one of mine?
All right, I will be a gentleman. Go ahead.
You can jump on mine if you have it. Christian McCaffrey, more than 68.5 rushing yards, because we both expect him to have 1 gazillion rushing attempts in this game, right? So if he has 20 plus, I mean, you could still have bad efficiency and win or and hit that number. Now, the last time they played at home, the Browns, they allowed Derrick Henry to run for over 100 rushing yards, 103. The game prior to that at home, they allowed that, even though they destroyed the Dolphins 31-6, Achane still had 82 rushing yards and 13 carries. So they're not shut down a rushing team. So even though I don't expect like McCaffrey to have this great efficiency, I do expect him to have over 20 carries. Last week he had 89 rushing yards. The week prior to that, 81. So he's been having way more than 68.5. So 68.5 rushing yards more than.
I'm surprised that you went there. I'm surprised that's the Christian McCaffrey pick that you went with, because I think there's another one that's available that makes much more sense, especially given the defense and the game plan, what we're likely to see. But you convinced me there. I'm willing to at least understand where you're coming from with that one. But I'm taking Christian McCaffrey more than 4.5 catches. If there is one thing that Brock Purdy is going to be able to do, it is take the snap, drop back, and throw a 2-yard pass to Christian McCaffrey. And whether that's the design of the play or whether Myles Garrett destroys Colton McKivitz and is screaming down Brock Purdy's neck, and Purdy just has to chuck it and duck because he's terrified of getting, flattened into a pancake by Myles Garrett, I think Christian McCaffrey's going to he may have 10 or 12 catches this week. To me, 4.5, there is no way Christian McCaffrey doesn't catch more than one pass a quarter. So give me Christian McCaffrey more than 4.5 catches.
I like it. And they also, if you don't want to worry about McCaffrey's efficiency at all, they have his rushing attempts at 18.5, right? Take the more than for 18.5 for sure. So if you don't want to worry about efficiency at all, take the catches, which was 4.5, and then the rushing attempts 18.5. I like both of this.
Do you want to make the rushing attempts an official pick?
Yeah, let's do both rushing attempts and rushing yards for funsies.
Well, and especially too, you would hope that if he gets that many rushing attempts, he can get the yardage. If he doesn't, we got some major problems in the game. So I like that one. Oh man, so all the Kittle numbers scare me. You know what I'm not doing? I'm not doing any Ricky Pearsall picks this week. 2 weeks in a row, I've been burned by that. I thought it was real interesting after the game. Last week, they asked Ricky Pearsall about, Christian McCaffrey's getting all these touches, and what do you think about that and all that? And he was like, I'd love to get 30 touches a game. He said, I don't think it's that hard. It's like, maybe Ricky wants to see the ball a little bit more. I don't think this is the game that is going to happen. So I will not take Ricky Pearsall any picks this week. I'm going to go with this one because with Sleeper, you have to take picks from both sides. Mm-hmm. So I will take David Njoku more than 1.5 catches. Not crazy. Like, I just think that tight ends are going to be a huge part of the game plan. We know young quarterbacks like tight ends. They're a safety blanket. He only needs 2 catches. And again, maybe the Niners happen to get pressure and he has to dump it off. But I think David Njoku, it's just 1.5. So that's enticing for me.
Yeah. With Harold Fannin Jr. out there, what's his at? Because I would much prefer that.
Harold is at 3.5.
Okay. Well, Njoku's a little banged up. He was limited in practice as of today. He has a knee injury.
I'm not coming off of it. I've said it. I said what I said.
All right. Well, I like the Harold Fannin Jr. one better personally, but all right.
Do you want me to put that down as an official?
No.
All right. What's up? What's your next one?
Brock Purdy, more than a half of an interception. So an interception.
Ooh.
Come on. They're playing in the rain. They're playing in terrible weather in Cleveland. The Browns have the 5th most interceptions when playing at home this year. And Brock Purdy, like we've said so many times in this podcast, has thrown multiple interceptions in 3 or 4 games played. So yeah, I'm hoping for Purdy not to throw one, but I'm going to say he will.
It's not crazy. He could even get one where, one of those kind of like cheapo ones that are sort of fumbles, but they don't land on the ground and they get caught too. Like if someone strips it out of his hand. Remember last time they played Cleveland, he dropped back to pass and he went to throw and the ball just came out of his hand. So again, there's a lot of different ways that could happen. And as Antonio says, thank you for the super chat, Antonio, on how many dropbacks will Brock Purdy lose the grip of the ball, over or under 1.5. It literally has happened once before. So all that stuff has to go into it when you're trying to figure out where you want to go with these picks. Thank you so much for the super chat, Antonio. We always appreciate it. We appreciate all the YouTube channel members as well. There's a lot of people in the chat mad that we're saying negative things about Brock Purdy. Like, You got to be able to say both sides. We didn't say anything negative about Brock Purdy when he dropped 3 touchdowns on the Cardinals, right? Like when he plays well, you say he plays well, but when he plays poorly, it's okay to say that too.
And normally I defend him a lot. Like sometimes I think people are too harsh on him, but that's not the case after this game. It was a very bad game. We're allowed to say that.
And he would tell you. It's not like, he's not denying it either. Trying to look through. I'm not taking any field goal picks this week, which is normally like my old reliable, but who knows what you're going to get from the kicking game. Like, I have no idea. And, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. The Niners special teams kind of makes me feel good. There was a drive last week against the Panthers where Sky Moore had a kick to around midfield. Brock completed 1 pass to George Kittle. I think it was for 25 yards. They did nothing the rest of the drive, but they were still able to get a field goal out of it because of the field position and the 1 completion. That is exactly the way the 49ers could steal some easy points this week. Maybe your special teams does a lot of work, and then you don't need that much out of your offense, and you don't have to risk that much out of your offense, and you can steal some points, assuming, of course, the field goal is good. But maybe the special teams, this could be a big special teams week for the Niners.
I mean, it's been great to see, right? And that's definitely a way that you can steal a game on the road in a hard matchup in bad weather, is if your special teams has a bigger play than the other team. Like that'd be great.
You stole the Brock Purdy pick is pretty good. Well, what about Shedeur Sanders? At least 1 interception.
Do you trust the 49ers to come down with an interception?
They have been. 2 straight weeks, the 49ers have forced multiple turnovers. I know it's like a friggin' epiphany. Jair Brown. How about Jair Brown last week, by the way, Michelle? We've been hard on Jair. He was great. Reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Week.
I just want to say thank you so much to the Panthers staff for throwing the ball at the goal line with Bryce Young instead of just running it in with Rico Dowdle. But all right.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think I'm going to do that. I will take Shedeur at least 1 interception. Shout out to Robert Saleh. The Niners defense, even in their depleted state, has had opportunities for interceptions this year. Most of the time they have dropped them. Maybe that worm has started to turn a little bit. So I will take, I like your Brock Purdy pick, and I'm going to go with Shedeur Sanders, at least 1 interception as well.
Nice. All right. I'm taking Quinshon Judkins over or more than, what was it? Hold on. Sorry. It's his rushing attempts. 18 and a half. Yeah. 18 and a half rushing attempts.
That is so many, but
it's really not. It's really not. I mean, he's done it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times since week 4. And last week he had 16, but he kept going in and out of the game and like concussion protocol. It was weird, but he's fine. He's healthy. So I think this is just going to be a running game on both sides. And I fully expect Judkins to have over 20 carries as well.
I think you can't go wrong picking running backs in this kind of weather, in this kind of game, with Shedeur Sanders, because let's face it, the Browns don't want Shedeur Sanders to throw 40 times either. They want to run the ball too. So I completely agree with your reasoning there. I'm just looking at Brock's passing yardage number. It's tempting. First of all, Shedeur's is 159.5, which is so low for an NFL game. I get why they're doing it because of the weather and all that stuff. Brock's is 204.5. I want to make one more 49ers pick because I have too many Browns ones. So I want to have a San Francisco one. All the receiving stuff scares me. Brock Purdy, I will do it. No, you know what? I'm going to go under. I'm going to go less than 204.5 passing yards for Brock Purdy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that the Browns defense is really good. Maybe the Niners special teams can set up the 49ers in positions where Brock doesn't have long drives down the field. I will take Brock Purdy less than 204.5 passing yards.
Yeah. If you had to go one way on that, because I was like, I don't think you could do the more than Lamar against them in week 11, only 193 passing yards. Tua, the game before that in Cleveland, was 100 passing yards. It's not going to be easy. So, yeah, I would take the less than as well. I'm not putting my name down for it, but if I had to go with one.
Oh, by the way, too, it's not like he can't have a good game. Remember, against the Cardinals, he threw for 200 yards on the dot. But he had 3 touchdowns. That's a good game. So, like, it's not like, well, if he throws for less than that, he can't possibly have a good game. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't love it, but I want to have another Niner. I don't like picking other teams to do. I want to root for the Niners to do stuff out there. So that's where I'm going to go. So if I have this correct, you have Christian McCaffrey, more than 68.5 rush yards. You have Christian McCaffrey more than how many rush attempts was it? 18?
18 and a half.
18, yeah. So he's got to get 19 carries. You have Brock Purdy at least one pick, and you have Judkins more than 18 and a half rush attempts.
Correct.
I have Christian McCaffrey more than 4.5 catches, which, by the way, the Christian McCaffrey receiving was the only one I had last week, correct? So I'm sticking with that. David Njoku, more than 1.5 catches. Shedeur Sanders, at least one interception. And Brock Purdy, less than 204.5 passing yards in the game. By the way, I want to ask you just off topic, because I was thinking in my head, I want to set up the 49ers playoff picture before we go. Were you rooting for the Packers or the Lions yesterday?
I'll never root for the Packers, so I was rooting for the Lions. I wasn't thinking about the 49ers playoff situation, but yeah, I was rooting for the Lions.
How dare you? You should always be thinking about the 49ers playoff situation. I don't like the Packers too. Like, I don't think Jordan Love is nearly as good as everybody says, and I feel like his play has not reflected that, so I wanted to see them lose. They obviously did not lose, and they remain ahead of the 49ers in the playoffs because of that stupid tie that they got against the Cowboys earlier this year. So Green Bay is the 6th seed right now at 8-3-1. Niners are the 7th seed at 8-4-0. And then you've got the Lions out of the playoffs directly behind the 49ers at 7-5. So it looks like the Niners, should be able to maintain pace ahead of Detroit. The question is, can they track down Green Bay?
Yeah, and I think it's once you're a wild card team, you're a wild card team. I don't know if it's going to matter all that much. There's not any team at the top that's like petrifying. So,
well, here's the thing. So right now, if the playoffs started today, which I know they don't, but just stick with me here, the Niners would play the Eagles because 2 would play 7. The first, number 1 seed gets a bye, obviously. 2 plays 7. So the Niners would play the Eagles. I don't hate that, not because I think the 49ers are better than the Eagles, but the Eagles, I've never seen a team that can literally sabotage itself as much as Philadelphia does. Like, their offense could just make itself completely irrelevant. And so the Niners might actually be able to beat them, which is crazy to say because I think Philly is way better of a team. But so that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But then if you're the 6th seed, you would play the 3 seed. So right now the Packers would play the Bears. Would you rather play the Eagles or the Bears if you were the Niners?
I know. I'd much rather the Bears, but I expect the Bears to lose 5 out of their last 6 games and miss the playoffs.
Right. And then 4 would play 5 right now. Or 5 would play 6, excuse me, right now. No, what am I saying? 2 plays 7.
5 plays 4.
5 plays 4. So Tampa and Seattle would be the other matchup. Yeah, something in my head is like the Bears are going to find a way to beat the Eagles, which I don't want.
No, they're not going to. I think the Eagles are going to destroy them by 20 points today.
I hope so. I don't want the Bears to get any more confidence. I want them to lose. I want them to be just spiraling by the time they play the 49ers.
I think they will be. I think they lose a lot of games.
I hope you are right. That's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time checking us out, we do our picks every Friday. So make sure you come back for more. Tell a friend if you've already subscribed, you've already liked. Tell a friend. We could always use your support. We will be live immediately after the game for the Instant Reaction Show, which we're live after every 49ers game as well. I highly recommend you go check those out. Those are some of my favorite shows of the week. Michelle, thank you for doing this early. I appreciate it. I got the in-laws coming today for Thanksgiving too. Enjoy the game. Say hi to your wife. And we will talk to everybody after the game.
Bye, y'all.